Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started right now. I do have an agenda that I'm going to follow. We will go ahead and start with the welcome, and this is our agenda, and I'll go ahead and put it in here so everyone can see it. We will be starting with our welcome. We'll be giving a little bit of background on TADA. We're going to look at the logistics and the schedule, as well as the pre-workshops, assessments, and feedback forms that will be given to the students, room assignments, any type of equipment or required resources, and for those that are requesting payment for their services, vendor applications, as well as our payment process, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I just want to welcome everyone. I'm Bridget Baggett. I'm the Director of Career Development and Engagement with Morehouse College. TADA, what that stands for is the Talent Assessment and Development Academy. This is being funded by a grant that we recently received from UNCF. It's a Career Pathway Initiative grant. It's a 5-year grant, and one of the resources that we're offering our students is a summer initiative or a summer enrichment experience that we can also somehow align not only their majors, but their passions and their interests with their career goals. And hopefully we'll be able not only to increase retention, but also graduation rate and placement rates from Morehouse College. So that's something that we're looking to do with TADA. This is our first year doing this particular academy. We're looking to do this again for the duration of the entire grant, which is 5 years, and hopefully with sponsorships as well as support from the community. This is something that we can continue to do following the grant, which would end in 5 years. So we are definitely trying to make this something that will be an ongoing academy and enrichment experience. So I did want to take just a little bit of time just to talk about what TADA is. This is the students have understood this when we did this workshop with them, and this is only a couple of slides just to tell you what this is. And again, it's a talent assessment development academy, and what we're going to be doing in the beginning of each day for the first week, or for the week of the program, is we're actually measuring their strengths through strengths finders. So if you're familiar with strength finder or strength quest, students will be taking an assessment. That way we'll be able to see where their strengths are, how they're going to be able to implement that in their personal and professional life, as well as their academic life. So that's something that we're looking at as well, and that's a big component of this particular academy. So the TADA experience, it's a 4-year learning academy. So this is not something that we're just doing as a one-off for the summer. Again, this is the first summer, it's our pilot, and we're going to also be tweaking it. And of course, following the program or the academy, we will be asking feedback from you as the presenters and speakers to let us know what we can do to better or best. How can we expand this? How can we make this better? How can we make it more efficient? How can we reach more students? So this is something that I also want you to keep in mind as you are doing your tracks, or either you're doing your professional development with the students. What can we do to again make this experience not only better for you as a speaker, but also more enriching for the student as well. So again, it is a 4-year academy. The first 50 students that we're having in this particular summer is a cohort. We're following them through their remaining 3 years at Morehouse, because remember, these are freshmen and sophomores, which would be rising sophomores and juniors. So when we get them, they're already going into their 2nd year. So the freshmen will be sophomores. So we're actually going to be tracking them throughout the entire process, not just through this particular camp. There are going to be things that we're going to be implementing during the fall and spring semester, and I encourage you, if you have anything that you'll like to do to enrich their experience outside of the academy, maybe it's a programming that you may want to do during the school year, the academic year, during our career week, that definitely would touch with our entire experience. That'll be something that you can consider as well. So again, so year one, it kind of maps out what we plan to do. Again, the first year, again, through this camp, we're identifying their talents and showing how their talents can be used and implemented in everyday experiences. Year 2, we're going to have a laser focus on perfecting their strengths through experiential learning, exploration, internships, collaborative projects through facilitated by faculty, staff, and selected employers. So this is something that we're doing their second year. And their third year, we're going to be monitoring their strengths through their chosen field of study, whether it may be through an internship, the major they selected, the strengths they have acquired or they're perfecting through the Strength Quest initiative, or anything that they may be learning through their academics, through faculty or staff, or selected employers. In their fourth year, we're going to be, again, implementing their strengths in the workforce. So this is pretty much they're about to graduate or they're on the verge of graduating. They're taking the leap of faith of even going to graduate school, starting a business, going straight into the workforce. Whatever they decide to do, we want to be able to nurture that and also give them the tools and resources to be successful. So we're going to follow them even after they leave Morehouse to make sure that we have done what we said we were going to do and we have implemented what we put into this program, and we're trying to see what the results would be and how fruitful they are. Okay, so this is the summer experience. We have 5 different tracks. And again, I spoke with many of the presenters, yourself one-on-one. I think I spoke to everyone but one person. But we have already agreed upon the track that you're going to be facilitating. I will have individualized schedules tonight that I will send to you. I did send you a general schedule. That's pretty much a overall look of what that week looks like, what's going to happen pretty much hour from hour. I will break down each individual track so you will have your own individualized schedule that you will pretty much abide by throughout the week. So there are 5 different tracks, and I'm pretty sure you know what track that you selected and we agreed upon. And we'll talk a little bit about that as we identify the logistics in the schedule. These are the requirements for TADA, and this was something that the students had to look at. So the students that you will be actually facilitating to, they will be first year and second year students. These are the tracks they selected on their own. We did not just randomly place them in the track. So that lets you also know the track that they selected is something that they're very interested in. So keep that in mind when you are looking at the material that you're going to facilitate. Don't make it so general. You want to also make sure that the information that you're going to give or facilitate to the students is going to be something that's going to be targeted to their direct interest. The reason for that is because they definitely selected that particular track. So you want to make sure that you're going to be able to give them some substance that they can take away and actually use following this particular academy. And all the students that we're working with are in good standing with the college. So that's something that we did look at, and they are open and actively engaged in trying to, again, better themselves academically and professionally. And this is the schedule. Everyone should have received the schedule. I did email that out. The schedule that was sent was pretty much the day-to-day activities that we'll be going through. As you can see, every day we're starting at 8:40 in the morning. That's for breakfast, and we're going to go into our Strength Quest talents. All the professional development. So if you are doing a professional development track, that will always be held in Brawley Hall, room 100. So every day, Monday through Friday, and Friday's excluded because that's the case study competition. So no one is going to be doing a track, nor anyone's going to be presenting for professional development. That time and day has been blocked off strictly for the case study competition. And how that works is at the beginning on Monday morning, everyone is given a case study. It's the exact same case study. But you also have to remember they're going to be approaching the case study through a different lens, depending on the track that they assumed. So you're going to have people that are going to be looking at it through a business finance lens, someone that's going to be looking at it through an IT or STEM lens, someone that's going to look at the case study through an education lens. So we're using the same case study, but at the end, they're going to put together everything they learned through the tracks they attended and be able to compete. There will be a prize, and we did not let them know what the prize is, but it's a very, very nice prize that we're giving to everyone in that particular group. So it's not just one prize. So everyone will be awarded a prize that they can walk away with if their group wins the case study competition. So again, during the day, pretty much from 9 to 12 is professional development and strength quest. They go to lunch at noon to 12:45. And from 1 to 4, they go to their assigned tracks. Everyone also received a spreadsheet with each student and what track they chose or what track they're assigned to. So you're able to see what students you will be facilitating to. So if there's anything that you need to see, send those students ahead of time, whether it's a pre-assessment, whether it's some reflection work, any type of pre-workshop work that you need to make sure they have done prior to your workshop, I encourage you to send it now. So this way they have the whole weekend to take a look at that and have a deep dive in getting that done before your workshop starts. And that also is going to go for any other type of requirements that you may have. That brings us down to, and I'm kind of skipping around, but that brings us down to required resources or equipment. So if there's anything that you may need, and each room will be equipped with a projector and a overhead white screen. All rooms are also equipped with whiteboards and whiteboard markers, and I will ensure that each room will have sufficient amount of white board markers and erasers in there. So you will have the technology in there, and I also have 2 backup projectors just in case we may have a room that doesn't have one. But I was assured when I booked the rooms that were booked, there's going to be in the Leadership Center, which is also known as the BOA, Bank of America Center, and the students know it as the Leadership Center. That's where the tracks will be held. Everything's going to be on the first floor, starting with room 148. I will send those room numbers with the individualized schedules tonight. So you will have your exact room number in the Leadership Center. In that room, you will have the equipment to facilitate your presentation using again, the projector and the overhead white screen. So that's going to be happening every day from 1 to 4, depending on the time that you allow in the time that we agreed on. And following their track, they're going to have a kind of a transformational intermission, which means I know I'm going to be doing some active things. I know some other speakers also said they'll be doing some very engaging things, either outside or inside, in which they may have time to, after their tracks, they can go home and get themselves together, whether it may be changing, taking a shower, whatever they need to do for 45 minutes to get back to Brawley Hall to do the stand and deliver. And that's a time where they're going to be delivering what they learned that day. So you're going to have someone from each track that's going to be able to represent whatever that particular presenter presented that day, and what was the takeaways? What did they learn? What can they immediately implement? What do they need to work on? So that's going to be the time when they do they stand and deliver. Following that, they will be dismissed for dinner. And then following that, they'll also have a time from 7 to 10 p.m. to do their homework and reflection. That would take place in our resource center, which is Douglas Hall. That's going to be the place where they're going to do most of their collaboration. They're going to work on any assignments that you may give them. Don't be afraid to give them something to take home to do overnight, to do in a group, so they can have something to think about outside the classroom. So that's the time period that we've put in there for them to do some type of reflection, especially if you have a track that you're going to be there for the entire duration. You have a couple of presenters that are there the entire week. Monday through Thursday. In that case, I would like to make sure that you are giving them something to do outside the classroom, since you will have those same students or many of those same faces coming back to you the next day. So that would be beneficial for them. So if you take a look at it, if you have any questions, I'll open that up later on in the webinar. We can talk about that. If you need a little bit more one-on-one, I definitely will have my contact information at the end of the webinar to share with you. So these are some of the things that are already given to them, or accommodations that are given to them throughout the program. We are covering their housing, we're covering their food, we're engaging them with professionals like yourself and employers, and we're also letting them know that it's going to take time and work for them to develop their skills, and this is the time for them to actually reflect on that and take this academy very seriously. So this is something that we've already spoke about with the students. They had their meeting yesterday at 5 o'clock, so they kind of already been onboarded on the expectations and what they need to bring to the table to make this as effective as possible. And this is my contact information. My direct email address, I'm located in Mays Hall here at Morehouse campus, and I'm the Director of Career Development Engagement. So just to go back to our agenda for today, I want to just make sure that we're maximizing our time, and I'm going to just bring this on here. The next thing that we're going to talk about the logistics, and I think I made that very clear that everything would be taking place in Brawley Hall, and then the professional development, and then everyone would move to the Leadership Center at the Bank of America Auditorium for their particular tracks. I not only would send your personalized schedule, but I also would send a map of the campus so you can take a look at that as well. Again, you have the forms, you have the Excel sheet to send any type of email that you need to do to your specific track. If you have any type of pre-work that they need to do. If there's any equipment that you may need in addition to the projector, let me know. I can't guarantee that I'll be able to put my hands on it at this last minute, but I think the major thing that many people did request was the projector, and being able to have access to present, and that will be available for you. Last thing I wanted to touch on was vendor applications and payments. There are a handful of either consultants that are requesting payment, and if you are one of those, you will have to fill out a vendor application. This is required in order to receive payment. I will send you the link, and I do have through your applications which ones require payment. I will need a invoice. I had many that send me quotes. Quotes will not get paid. Invoices get paid on. So if you sent me a quote, I cannot send that to our business and finance office, because a quote to them is looked upon as an estimate. They need something that's requiring payment, which comes in a form as an invoice. So if you can, make sure you can update the quote, and I will send an email to those that sent me a quote that it needs to be that quote needs to be turned into an actual invoice. The vendor application is going to be very straightforward. It asks for direct information as far as you, your name, your company information. It will ask you to upload a W-9 form, either with your business ID or your EIN number, or if you don't have one and you're a sole proprietary company, and I probably butchered that word, you can actually just use your social security number. So it's just pretty much straightforward with that, and then we will submit payment during that time. Vendor applications, new vendors may take a little bit longer to process, so we may be looking at probably June before you get your payment, unfortunately, because it will take probably anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks to get new vendors processed. So right now we're at 6:25. I do want want to open the floor up for any questions that you may have, and I'll be happy to answer those. Hopefully, I was very thorough with my presentation, was able to pretty much elaborate on everything or any questions that you may have had previously, but I will open the floor up for now. Any questions that you may have, and I'll keep my contact information up here. If you don't have a question, you can type in the Q&A session. If you did not dial in, or if you used if you're using your computer that does not have audio, you can type in your question in the Q&A session. And I give anyone a minute to do that if you have a question at all. Okay, I don't see any questions coming in at all. And I do not see anyone typing anything. I give you a couple more seconds and then I'll go ahead and wrap this up. Just wanting to make sure everyone received the information they needed, and this was about as clear as possible about what's expected. If you are having an early session, if you are going to be presenting in the morning, I encourage you to meet us at Brawley Hall, because that's where you'll be presenting. If you will be presenting in the afternoon and your track starts at 1 o'clock, I prefer that you go ahead and meet us in the Bank of America or Leadership Center. It's the same place, right at the college entrance. That's where the Bank of America or the Leadership Center is. You're able to park in the parking deck. Parking deck is $2. And I will see if I can validate it if you bring your ticket to me. That's one thing I can remind you to do. If you bring your punch-in ticket to me, I've been able to sign off on them and they'll let you out without you having to pay. But if you forget it in your car, just remember it's $2 for the day. So if you park, it's just $2 in the parking deck. Okay, I did have a comment. No, I have not seen that. I have not sent that link with the vendor application for the W-9, or that's really the vendor application. You will actually upload your W-9 in the application form. I have not sent that out yet, but I guess my question to you is, have you received the attachments that I sent prior to the workshop? So did you receive the actual schedule and the students? So that's the one I did send this morning or earlier today. Okay, cool. So you did receive those other attachments. Yes, I will be sending the vendor application link tonight. So you will get that tonight. That way, if you fill it out by tonight or tomorrow, I can get it to our business finance first thing Monday morning. So that way we can go ahead and get that processed first thing in the morning on Monday. If there's no other questions, I really appreciate your time, taking time out on a Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening. Enjoy yourself and look forward to seeing everyone on Monday. Have a good one.